Hey, what's going on, everyone? So, today, what I would like to talk about is your teachers in life and how teachers can be anyone, anything, or any idea that would resonate with you and teach you something. Now, I'm going to start off with religion and kind of branch into a more broad sense, but I think that religion is a good start because it's a lot of where strong opinions, strong beliefs can really cause friction in our universe and a lot of fighting I think we could argue about. I'm just going to get this out of the way because it's driving me nuts. Now, I went around my room and I piled a bunch of books together just for this cool example. And right here I have the Vedas, the Tao Te Ching, the Gita, the Quran, the Bible, the I Ching, just in general a lot of religious texts, and a lot of them, their basis is kind of goes and like, this one's not true, this one's not true, listen to us. And I think that's good in some respects. A lot of them, I enjoy reading religious texts, just whether I believe in the spiritual side of them or not. I believe that like a lot of them have good things to offer. They're so old. A lot of them are really wise, and but they're not the end all be all for me. And I think that that should be for everyone in a sense, where I have certain texts that I believe more, that I believe more the spiritual side, or that at least the way I think about it, I don't want to say believe, but that I more resonate to and relates more to me. But when I read these texts, I see Jesus, I see Muhammad, I see whoever wrote them, and they're valuable teachers, or Krishna, and they're valuable teachers in these books. You can learn so much from them, the way they teach you about love, respect, greed, lust. They all have so much to say, and they all come from different views. Buddha too, like just all these people that lived in spirit through the books, whether which you'd like to think is true. But like, Jesus did not come from the same walk of life as Buddha. Muhammad didn't come from the same walk of life as Jesus. And like Krishna, all these gods or men who were walking in the shoes of God, or and however you like to frame it that fits what you know best, they lived and they taught so much good information. And then I think a lot of the texts get people start to believe this is so true that I close my mind to the teachings of others. And I don't want to hone in on any of them. I know that is not going to be a good idea for me to hone in on one of them particularly, but a lot of wars are started, a lot of people not agreeing with other people because of their beliefs are so strong in them. But anyone can be your teacher. If you go into one of these texts open-minded, maybe you're not having to have your mind changed about the metaphysical, spiritual side of life that you find to be true, but their teachings are valuable. Anyone who goes into reading the Quran or the Bible or any of these texts, I'm kind of focusing on those two, like the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Quran, because at least in America, those can be a big three that kind of clash with each other, is the teachings are all very valuable. They build off each other. The New Testament builds off the Old Testament. The Quran is supposed to build off the New Testament and like all the books inside the Bibles. And we get so fed up in saying, my book is right. My book is the end all be all. And when you do that, people start to misinterpret the meanings of it. Like, they'll intentionally misinterpret what it says. I'm sure you've seen this in real life. I don't want to give too many examples because this is a very sensitive topic, and the more practical I will. But people disagree because their book is the end all be all. But their books agree on a lot of things. Many of these books agree on like greed, lust, kindness, respect. They all kind of follow the same ideas. And they all kind of have the same goals almost, in a way. If you really think about it on a broad level, the goals of like being with God or the afterlife, it's all very similar. And the fulfillment, the satisfaction, that's all anyone really wants in life, even if they're not particularly religious. And these texts tell us how to be like that. And while we're all different people, we are not gods either. Well, even if you believe that all these books were written by God itself, your book was written by God itself, and that may be true, I'm not saying it's not, but you are not a god, we are not gods. So, and these books are very old, they are not conducive to our modern life, so you need to be able to take things from it and learn. Just because it's from a god doesn't mean you'll learn better of what they're teaching. So if one of these books is teaching almost the same thing, or at least like the same general guidelines of being a good human being, but you learn better from another teacher, like let's say like you're a Christian and you read the Gita, and Krishna in the Gita teaches you something, you don't need to look at the metaphysical aspect of it. You don't need to believe the spiritual side, and I'm using the Gita as more of an example. And I don't want to offend anyone by saying that a Christian can read the Gita and stay Christian, or a Hindu can read the Bible and stay Hindu, or any of these, because I know that will upset people, but I think you can. If you go into it with an open mind, you don't need to be fully swayed by any of these to learn from it. And while some of the religions may tell you need to follow them with a blind faith, is for most of us, we don't. And if that's how you want to live your life and it brings you satisfaction, and you're not harming anyone by doing such things, then that's great for you. I'm happy. If you're a diehard Christian, or if you're a Muslim, any of them, if that brings you satisfaction and you are not harming anyone and that's what helps you, then that's great. But a lot of us, I think, we're not completely sold by these books, but even if we're not completely sold by them, we still will live our way and fight to do what they say. We'll fight others, we'll hurt other beings because we are so correct. And if we weren't so caught up in being correct and saving others, even like we may think we're saving them, we're really just almost going against what the teachings are. We misinterpret it in our own way. And that can come from anything. I wanted to start with that because I think that it sets the basis for the blind trust that we have in organizations or the church or these texts, is the blind trust that some people have, where when you blindly believe what it's saying, it may be true. If you blindly follow one of these texts only, if you do everything it says to a T, any one of them, you'll probably be very successful. But when you're open, when your belief system is so rigid, you're very open to people misinterpreting it and using your beliefs against you. So when you say Jesus was right, and I'll be with Jesus because in America, and I probably have the most background in the church, like just knowing about it. So I'll start with him. If you believe that he is the end all be all, he has a small piece. Like, he couldn't tell us everything. He was killed. He didn't have time. His teachings are a small part of the world, but when you take them, you're forced to misinterpret. Like, it doesn't fit what happened 2,000 years ago. It doesn't fit perfectly today. So you have to interpret, and then these interpretations become blind beliefs. And these blind beliefs cause wars, they cause suffering. And especially with the translations, if you're not reading old texts in Sanskrit or Latin or the original text that's coming in, how do we know it hasn't been translated over and over? So you can find the meaning in these texts that's important to you, but they may not even be the original text, and chances are they're probably different, and even if it's not intentional, they're different in the wording, and that opens interpretation again. So now moving away from religion, I think that also falls into people or life experience itself. There are people in the world who may be different religions, different backgrounds, different opinions on things, and they may not even be the best human beings on earth. Like, you may look at them and say their lifestyle is deplorable, but if they're teaching you something, there's no reason you can't take the knowledge because of who they are. And I'll use another example. Some people may not know who he is, but Hunter S. Thompson, he was a writer. Who the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas was based off of. Like, he did a lot of drugs. He lived kind of this very, I don't want to call it hedonistic because it wasn't that beautiful for him. He ended up killing himself. But he lived this lifestyle, that was not relatable to a lot of human beings, but his political work, like his writings were very inspiring to a lot of people. And that's I tried to flip the spectrum now of, while we blindly follow these holy figures, we may ignore the teachings of others who are less in our eyes, but they can still be valuable because we are free thinkers. We do not need to blindly follow anyone or anything. It's easy with a God to understand how that works, but let's say your boss at the office, or that could be tougher because you do have to do what they say, but a partner in life, your friends, your relationships, loyalty is not blind faith, blind trust. That's being manipulated, that's being controlled, that's putting your mind in a box. Whether you know it or not, you're allowing it to happen. So you should be able to see all your experiences in life, but not let them define you, not let them, there is no one answer. There is no one path that'll bring you there for most people. It's a collection of knowledge. And when you understand that you're still not getting the full story, is Krishna, Jesus, Muhammad, they are not here with you. They are not taking you to heaven. They are not giving you the world right now. You do not have your life to study them with new content over and over. All this content, you can reread it and still learn from it, but it ends, and it doesn't give you everything. Even if it feels like it does, you will still have a life to live in 2020 or whatever year you're watching this versus thousands of years ago when these happened. And it's everything you can learn from. It doesn't need to be people either. You can, like the moon, a lot of people with astrology, they'll how the moon affects water, it may affect your body, or like the deeper, the more, I'm not going to go too into it, but you can learn from that. You can believe it's valuable. You can learn from the moon. You can see the way the trees affect you, and you can learn from them. You can look at a cat and see the way it lives its life in peace and being, and when it gets hungry it eats, and then when it doesn't need to do anything, it's at peace. You can look at that and learn. But I'm also not a cat, I'm not a tree, I'm not the moon. Blindly following these people or these ideas will only lead you astray because you're not them. You are not Jesus, you are not God. You may be a part of God, you may be a part of Jesus, whatever you'd like to believe, but you yourself are not a God. You are on earth right now. So blindly following someone's footsteps can't help you. And even if they are a human being, like teachers on YouTube, there are so many gurus and so many people giving out unsolicited advice just like me that have opinions. And if you blindly follow me, blindly follow someone on the internet, they still have their life, they have responsibilities. They need, like, this YouTube channel, not me, this is not me, but others that have the YouTube for money, who make money off of YouTube, who have more of a following, they still need to sell, they still need to make the profit. So they are good people, a lot of them. I'm not saying that, and they do have good lessons, but they're still bound by their responsibilities, their dharma, their life, the things they need to do. And we tend to look past that. We tend to look past that people have these things in their life that need to be accomplished. And we are all living off each other, while the teacher is nothing without the students. So the teacher needs the students, and the students don't need the teacher per se. They want the teacher. So when the teacher always needs to sell you something, and it doesn't need to be in a bad sense, but you need to know it's happening. You need to know that they would need to do things to get your attention. But even their message is probably great, and the way they're going about it may not be bad, but it's happening. So you need to look at all of life, your teachers in school, your parents, your relationships, the way you interact with nature, animals, your understanding of God, and your understanding of religion. Even if you if you consider yourself atheist, you still need to understand all your experiences and make the formulated opinions yourself. And all these teachers can add to that, but you don't need to take the shadow side, the bad side of these teachings. You don't need, and that's usually the misinterpretations. You don't need to blindly accept that. If something says something that doesn't resonate with you, and you're going, I'm not sure I feel that way about this one thing, and I don't want to target in on anything in the religions. I don't want to do that right now. But if you just say, I don't particularly see that as accurate, then you don't need to. And you don't need to blindly accept what's true. You don't need to say, well, this is true, so everything is this. That's wrong. And believing misinterpretations is wrong. You need to believe yourself. You trust, make a formulated opinion, and you will be so much better in life. When you can take the good aspects of everything and leave the negative behind, I think that's what a lot of these teachings are trying to show you. That when you do things with a clear heart, when you understand your intentions of why you're doing it, why am I going to work? Why do I love this person? If I love this person because they're in my life, I like being with them, and I just feel better with them, then that's great. But if I love this person because I want sex, or they supply me with money, or if I don't know what to do without them, that my life isn't the same without them, then that can be bad motivations to good teachings. And I think that people need to understand how their decisions work. I'm kind of getting tongue-tied here, but I think everyone should have the point at this point. This will be my longest video, so I'm going to cut it short. It's just all about making your own decisions, coming to your own choices from all the teachings combined to make your own formulated opinion. You are a free thinker, and you've got this. So I'm going to wrap it up now before it gets too long. I hope you all have a great day. So long.